Hey, what's up? It's Brian here, and this is part one of the two-part series on the power of music that I'm doing. So this video in particular is on music's purpose to influence people. And part two will be a longer video on the importance of promoting positive music and condemning negative music out there. And you might be wondering too, like, Brian, this is kind of like out there, like in left field, like, why are you doing these couple videos? Well, to answer that, if you've been following this channel for a while, though I've never really talked about music specifically, I constantly try to talk about psychology and self-development topics from different lenses. So I've done a parenting lens, I've done a racism lens, I've done several creative videos, I've done speeches where I'm acting. So I definitely like to attack things from different angles. And this is also the start of several music-related videos that I'm doing too. Some song reaction videos. I'm gonna actually create a song or two myself also. And the big point of this video is just that the purpose of music is to influence people, to influence your emotions and how you feel. And this is no matter the music too. It could be dance music, rock, feel-good music, sad music, music to get you pumped up. So you really have to understand that it's in the design of music itself. If it wasn't, and then music really wouldn't exist. There would be no purpose of people speaking in rhymes and then having different tunes to speech. Like, that wouldn't happen unless there was a purpose to it, to influence people. And it's like, of course, people have control over their life and their thoughts. So you have to distinguish control and influence from that standpoint also. And another way of putting this is that, like all influences, it's not saying like this is the singular reason that someone turns out the way they do, but everything contributes, right? There's millions of moments in life and everything contributes to how someone feels, to how someone acts. So it's not like one thing is to blame, but everything plays a factor in it. And it's like, another analogy with this too is, and I want to go into this analogy because I do hear some people say sometimes like, oh, people are going to act the way that they'll act. Music doesn't really matter from that standpoint. So hear me out on this analogy, and maybe the point that I just made will make more sense. So say you're in 10th grade, you don't study for a math test, right? And then maybe you get a bad grade on that test. But would you say the fact that you didn't study that one night in 10th grade for that math test, is that the reason that you don't achieve success in life at age 30 years old? It's like, no, like that's not to blame, but it could be a contributing factor. Why? Because things are connected in life. So it's like the fact that you didn't study on that math test means that you got a bad grade on that math test, which means that on average you got a worse grade in math for that year. On average you got worse grades that whole year. On average your college application was less because you didn't study that one night. You weren't able to network as much. Maybe you hanged around more negative peers. So then when you got to college, you didn't really develop the studying habits and the self-discipline to really focus on what you're passionate about and things that are important to getting great grades and to develop as a person. And then that led to maybe not going into a career that was really your destiny, and you went to a career that was kind of a fallback option. So as you can see, like, everything is connected. It's not like that one moment, that time you didn't study is the number one reason that you're maybe aren't achieving the success that you want at age 30, but everything is a contributing factor. So the connection here is like, the music that you hear on a daily basis can contribute to your actions and how you feel, though it's not the sole factor, but it is a contributing factor for sure. And another counterpoint to this that I've heard is, oh, music is just words. So I want to analyze this a little bit, because words matter, and the reason is because you just really have to think of a couple examples with this. So a teacher in school. The reason teachers don't just give written assignments to students, at least good teachers don't, is because they understand you gotta talk. Like, communicating via speech is a very important way for people to learn, to receive information, to hear things. It's also tied to the idea of a parent's words and tone matters, right? So if your argument is, oh, music is just words don't matter, and then I would just ask you, so what is parenting then? Because, you know, as long as you're feeding your child and stuff, everything besides that is pretty much just words. It's pretty much just communication. So of course words matter. Probably at least 95% of daily moments in life is tied to communication. So you have to keep that in mind too. And I like to say that people can learn and receive information in 4 ways. And they are through seeing it, hearing it, reading it, or writing it. So those are 4 ways that people in general can be influenced. And you really have to be conscious of those influences, especially if you're a parent too, because your child is open to all of those influences too. And music in particular, it plays out like this. You can hear music, you can read lyrics to music, you can write rhymes, and then seeing it. So though music, of course, is a hearing thing, but through hearing different words and what's being said, that can evoke images in your head too, and can infiltrate your subconscious and your conscious too. Or of course, with music videos, you see things. So that's how that can influence you in that way. And if you diminish this, once again, you're diminishing speech's impact in general. So music and speech go hand in hand because music is pretty much just words. And this is a really important thing to keep in mind too. The #1 ranked YouTube video is Baby Shark, that little kid song, 8 billion views. And if you look at the rankings actually, like top 5, top 10, top 20 videos on YouTube, I believe are pretty much all music videos, at least 90% of them are. So that's really, really telling. And I think that shows you that music is really the #1 influencer on people. There's no other way or media platform or creative outlet where you can influence that many people in 4 minutes. So if you have a message you want to give to the masses, like in an ideal world, if you can pick a career to positively impact people, I think you should pick music. You know, I'm not the best musician, but hey, if I could pick something, I would want to be the most influential musician there ever was. Because I think that's the key to really impact people, even more so than the present. Because young people, they look up to celebrities, to musicians, to artists, more than a professional sort of person. So you have to keep that in mind. And people listen to music a lot of different places. I'm not gonna go into this because it's pretty obvious. I mean, people might have it, playing on the background or something, listening while talking to friends while studying. So it's just all around our subconscious pretty much, always infiltrating our spirit and mind for positive or negative. And even for this, sometimes we don't even control it. So say if you're a kid and you're riding the bus to school, you don't have control over the song being played on the bus. And you also don't have control over the music your peers listen to. So although maybe music might not be influencing you in a positive or negative direction individually, you better believe that it's influencing your peers around you in a positive or negative way. And as I'm going to go into in part 2 video, a lot of times it can be in an extremely negative and harmful way, particularly when a peer or a young person doesn't have a lot of positive supports around them from family or close friends. So that's something to keep in mind too. So there's no way to escape the influence of music, and you really have to understand the positive and or negative impact that music can potentially have on you and the people around you. Music can change the world. Check out my part 2 video next, where I call out negative influencers.